On today's show, we're going to explore the most important Instagram updates that we have to be on top of as marketers, including Instagram has said they want to be a platform for friends to connect with each other, right? They've been saying that for a while. And there's two new features that allow people to do that, which we'll talk about in a minute. One for Reels and one for Stories, and how we can take advantage of those as marketers. Also, Instagram is finally taking something really seriously that TikTok figured out a few years back. And have you heard about Instagram's new video editing app? We'll share whether it's worth considering for your workflow or not. It is free, which is nice. My name is Jerry Potter, host of the Social Media Marketing Talk Show, a Social Media Examiner production, where we break down all the latest social media news and what it means for marketers like you. And today I'm joined by Shannon McKinstry. Shannon's an Instagram strategist, trainer, and mentor who guides small business owners into making a big splash online and growing their accounts through proven, organic, and sustainable strategies. She's also host of the Good Content podcast. Shannon, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jerry. I'm excited to be here.
So for a long time, TikTok has become a search engine, a lot like Google. And now Instagram says, yeah, we're going to take this a little bit more seriously than we have in the past. So what's the latest on this?
Yeah, so they said they're going to make a lot of improvements in their searchability. It's very smart on their part because they know the Gen Z crowd, and also my generation. I know my friends and I, we always say we go right to TikTok to search for something now. I skip over YouTube. It's either usually ChatGPT or TikTok. I go to search for something. So they know that. So even though Instagram is still family friends, they've learned that most people, are the non-business owners, the non-creators aren't really posting to Instagram as much. They might post once a month, once a week. So most people on the feed they see are creators and business owners. So what they're using Instagram for friends and family is more so the DMs, Instagram stories, right? So most users, when they're looking at the feed, they're on there to search for things, whether it's, local restaurants or news updates. That's where they're going. So they know if they want to compete with TikTok, they have to keep up. So they're looking to update those features. I know Miss Harry just said coming soon, but hopefully very soon.
It'll be interesting to see if people, like when you say, I just go to TikTok to search, are you primarily searching for products or do you search for topics?
Typically topics. So I'll put, recipes a lot, makeup, toddler tips, right? I've got a rowdy toddler. And the searchability, I will say, is astounding. Instagram, not so much. And also Instagram has that new tool, you may have seen it, where underneath the post, it will say the topic with a little magnifying glass. And they're saying they're going to get better at that because right now it's a little, sometimes I'm like, that's actually not what this topic is about. But usually what TikTok does with that little search bar is it's by usually what people are talking about in the comments. So what they're trying to do is make that better. So the same thing happens. Because what they're doing is kind of grabbing keywords from text and the caption and kind of making it up, but they're going to get better at that so that whatever people are talking about in the comments, whatever the conversation is, that search tool will say those words.
Okay. It's interesting seeing this evolution because for the last few years, it's felt like the algorithms have gotten so good at knowing what we want that we just open and it's there. But obviously there's still that intent. And this is coming from Google. One thing I keep thinking about is, Meta has been like Meta AI. And I don't, they released a dedicated app. I don't hear a lot of people going, yeah, I asked Meta AI. I'm sure it's starting to happen and maybe it's just not in my circles, but obviously this will tie into that as well. They seem more prepared than TikTok to have their search replaced by AI because they've got their own tool.
Yes. Yeah. They're ahead of the game on that. And yeah, I haven't heard anyone talking about Meta AI, but I'm sure it will, sometimes they take things and, we're like, we already have our tool, but once people start using it, I'm sure they'll love it.
Yeah, they'll have to come out with some killer feature that other people don't have.
Exactly.
And I think that's when it'll happen. So,
yeah.
All right. Another big thing that's been rolling out, and everyone I believe is supposed to have this now, is the new Instagram Blend feature. So first, explain to us what it is, and then I know you've started playing with it. So what's been your initial thoughts around that?
Yeah, at first I was like, what's really the point of this? But once I did it, I was like, this is actually very fascinating. So I tested it out with a chat I've had for years with some of my girlfriends. I was like, hey guys, I need to test this thing out. Let's see how it works. So if you're in a group chat, you can't, I couldn't just do it between Jerry and I, right? You have to have at least, 3 people in the chat or more. And it's right at the top of your DM. It's like 2 little caption bubbles. You tap it, everyone gets kind of opts into a blend. So every time you go to that group chat, you can tap this sticker icon of blends, and you can now be completely transported to a Reels feed that is literally their algorithm. So as I'm scrolling, it was really interesting. It's like this reel was suggested to Carly. And I swiped to the next one. This reel was suggested to Marissa. So it's showing me what reels my friends are seeing. So the way I thought about it as a marketer, I have my team. I was like, we could do a blend so that when we're helping come up with hooks for our clients and things like that, we're now all kind of looking at each other's algorithm. So I'm seeing content I wouldn't normally see in my feed, which is fascinating because we know the algorithm's feeding us content we want to see. So it's cool to see other algorithms because you're missing content that you can study to see what's performing well in the app. So that's how I'll be using it. And I'm actually really, now that I got in there, I'm like, this is very, very cool.
Interesting. So it's yeah, we're obviously all in our own bubble, right? For years, if somebody will let me, I'll be like, oh, I see you're on Facebook. I see you're on Instagram. Do you mind if I just scroll your feed for a bit? And some people it's private. Some people are like, sure. And then some people say, no, I don't want you to mess up my algorithm or whatever, or I don't want to miss anything, So, but it is always fascinating because we see obviously the stuff that appeals to us. So that's an interesting way to shake it up. I wonder if it would be, because we were sort of talking pre-show, like what are the use cases for marketers? I like what you said about having your team. It might be an interesting way to do customer and client research as well.
Absolutely.
If they let you do that. Like if you did a customer survey, I could see, hey, would you be interested in setting up a blend where we could kind of see what other people are being recommended? If they know about you, hopefully your content is being recommended, but that could be another interesting way to do it. It is.
I love that. Yeah. Because we can see what keywords or, what content's getting fed to them, but why it's getting fed to them. So
yeah. Did you notice like patterns as you were watching? These are friends of yours that you did it with, right? So as you were watching, you were like, oh, that's so Kaylee, or that's so.
Yes. No, I was, but it's mainly entertaining for them. Right. But again, like they're not business owners. So for them, their algorithm is feeding them a lot of entertaining, funny content. Okay. Right. So it's interesting. It's like, okay, so just another interesting thing to think about, like how can you make your content more entertaining and so that it goes out to more of the masses? So I have a feeling that's what the masses are seeing if they're not necessarily scrolling for our products and services. So, but I do love that, again, it's like we get an inside scoop into what content the algorithm is feeding certain people based on what signals they're sending it. But again, it was mainly comedy that I saw, but it's really fascinating to test things out with other people.
Yeah, that's a really interesting use case. So awesome. All right. There's another feature that around stories that's similar to this that we'll tell you about here in just a second. But moments ago, we were talking about Meta AI. Obviously, AI is changing everything. What could powerful AI marketing training help you accomplish? Think about this for a second. A lot of people are still trying to figure out how to use AI in their marketing. The AI Business Society can help you master cutting-edge AI tools that drive measurable results, filter through all of the tools that are out there, implement proven strategies from successful AI marketers, stay ahead of the curve instead of playing catch up. And so by joining this membership, you get expert-led training from top AI marketing innovators, a welcoming community of forward-thinking marketers, zero risk. You can try everything in there 100% free. Being an AI-powered marketer is not going to be optional in the future. So we all have this opportunity to jump in and become that AI-powered marketer now. It's the best time to get started. Just go to socialmediaexaminer.com/AI business to check it out. Okay. Socialmediaexaminer.com/AI business. So one of the big announcements, first they announced at the beginning of the year during the TikTok chaos, we're making an editing app like CapCut, but it finally rolled out for everybody last month. And so you've gotten a chance to test it. What are your first impressions around the Instagram Edits app?
Yeah. I mean, personally, I love it. I love that it's another option. It's not for me. It's not going to replace other apps that I've already been using. But I love it for especially green screen. For me, my opinion, big opinion on Edits app is it's really good for people who aren't familiar with editing. They're kind of new to editing. A lot of the other apps I find, and I've heard from users, CapCut is a little overwhelming, right? It's not user-friendly. It's really not. And I actually grew up doing Final Cut Pro and I'm even like, this is a lot. So for people who just want the basics, I think it's actually brilliant. So for like my students, I'm like, you need edits. It's pretty user-friendly. It's pretty self-explanatory, but for the green screen, I really love it. Because I think green screen is such an incredible way to boost engagement for creators. So what's cool about Edits now, when you open the Edits app, you literally just press the camera like you're going to record, and it's one tap to the green screen. Super easy. I always found that a lot of people that are kind of getting beginners or just like this isn't necessarily their strong suit, I find that Edits is a lot more user friendly. And the big announcement, they rolled out more fonts, they have more features, so it's going to get more and more robust. But people are they love their CapCut, they love, right? And I'm like, no, I don't think it's going to replace at any time, but I still think it's worth checking out and playing around.
I think CapCut was probably less overwhelming in the beginning, though, too. Right? Like right now, Instagram is just like, yeah, we just kind of put a few things in there because if they didn't, then, nobody would stick with it. So, and you recommend, like, let's say somebody does want to edit on their phone. They're not already attached to another app. Because I always tell people, they're like, what's the best video editing app? I'm like, which one do you already know? Like, let's start there, right? Mm-hmm. Then we can continue that conversation. But, do you think if somebody has nothing, would you recommend, based on your experience, that they edit in Edits versus in natively in Instagram, like they're making a reel?
I do. It's way easier to edit in Edits than Instagram. I will say.
Okay, you're the first person I've heard say that.
Yeah, because it's very finicky to me. I find Edits a little more easy. I don't know. It's just easier to navigate. I think things are labeled a little better. Again, I love the font choices they're giving now, because I know a lot of people are kind of bored of the Instagram fonts.
Instagram's 5 fonts.
Yes, yeah. Right. But I love that it's still native to Instagram, because they, again, they want us to use it. I've shared a couple with Edits, but my last few were edited with InShot, sometimes with CapCut. For me, again, it depends, like, what features do I need? So if I'm going to do green screen, I'm going to use Edits. If I'm going to do something with lots of animations, I'm going to use CapCut. If I'm just doing a talk to camera, I'm going to use InShot because I love their AI cut. So like you said, what works best for you? But I think Edits is a perfect one to start with because it has less bells and whistles to overwhelm you.
We are so different. Like, as you were listing off all of your stuff, I was like, oh my God, like, I don't want my brain to even, like, to me, I'm just like, what's the one tool that's going to do everything I need pretty good, right? I don't want to be moving stuff around. And it's the same thing with AI tools. When people talk about, oh, well, which model should you use for this? And which, and I've got Claude, I've got ChatGPT. And I'm like, nope, I just need one that'll hopefully do stuff well. When Amazon announced their, I don't want to say her name because I've got a smart speaker in here, but when they announced that was going to get AI, they said, hey, you don't have to choose the model. It'll just choose the model based on what your question is or what your inquiry is.
That's
cool. I was like, yes, thank you. Why can't we all have that? So, but I'm glad that works for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think, and I guess this is probably just conspiracy theory at this point, but do you think there is anything to be said for editing in the Edits app or Instagram natively and publishing directly from there? Because you can publish directly from the Edits app, correct?
Yeah. I will say
your phone in between.
Yeah, I didn't see any boost in engagement, nothing crazy. And that's why I tested it, because I was like, I wonder if they're going to kind of boost. Because, when you see something created in Edits, it will say made in Edits, like Instagram's pushing that. But yeah, I didn't see anything remarkably crazy. It performed well, but but like I said, like you were saying, if you're going to choose one, if your goal, again, it's also based on your goal. If your goal, you want cool animations and funky fonts and all, like, CapCut's still the clear winner. But if you just want basics and trimming and adding some fonts and a couple animations, then Edits is great.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So this is something this is such a test. This is like so early. Instagram hasn't officially said anything about it, but people have seen screenshots and code. It's something new called Instagram Storylines. And before you say what it is, I just want to say, I like the name. I think Instagram's gotten pretty good at naming things, but explain exactly what Storylines is.
Yeah. So again, it's like we were saying earlier, I don't know if we'll see if it actually rolls out, right? I kind of love it because Instagram stories are my favorite feature of Instagram forever and always. If it was just stories, I would love it. I'd be totally okay with that. But you can collab with stories. So now, like, Jerry and I could collab on a story, so people are watching the same storyline. I'm curious of where in the feed it will be. But what's so cool, what I think personally, where as marketers, what it will be so great store openings, launches, obviously really important for events like social media marketing world. Like how cool would that be that two speakers there can now have a shared story and they're collaborating. So we know the power of collaborating with Reels, collaborating on lives. I think this definitely will be one of those things when Instagram, if they roll it out, it's something that I'm going to beg everyone to hop on. Because I can tell you right now, I have a feeling it's one of those things where if you do take part, they're going to be like, yes. And they're going to throw your stuff right in front of our faces. But I think it's brilliant.
Well, and especially when people feel like their story's reach has been so limited the last couple of years, which is partially probably comparing it to Reels. But, the way they describe it, this allows friends who follow each other to, quote, link a new related story to your story, creating a larger narrative from an event. So they did talk about it as event-based, kind of like you talked, like you just said. But to me, I see it as, this is collabs. This is collaborations, except for stories where, a business and a creator or, an influencer, like all of these different potential things. Or like you said, two speakers could dramatically increase their reach. And then, as you also mentioned too, if this officially rolls out, like we all wanted to be the first people to start making Reels, right? We all wanted to be, because they reward that in such a big way. So, yeah, I like it because it does feel like the type of thing that could rejuvenate stories for people. With your clients, do you find that people are not posting stories as much? I know it's your favorite thing, but
it is. No, they are. Because I do believe, I still think that's why it was so interesting to me about the big search announcement from Messari, because, and I think we even talked about it, social media marketing world. I heard a lot of people talk about how Instagram really is at the end of the day, almost a messaging app, right? Yeah. Because their messaging is so good. And TikTok really isn't a big messaging app. It's, that's where Instagram, but the magic is in the DMs, and stories lead directly to DMs. So that's another thing I'm interested about with the storylines is, will it go to both creators if people respond and how that works? But I also find my clients, I know will love it because they have found even when they do a live collab or a collab with anyone, they get a boost in followers too. So, but my people are posting stories. They did scale back a little bit when I don't know if you all had heard about, if you post one story a day, your views are way up. So some of them tested that for a while, but at the end of the day, they were like getting less DMs, which meant less sales. So they're back to posting more stories, even though it becomes a decline, but that's just also user behavior. After I watch anyone's stories a couple of times, I'm kind of like, and then we come back to it later, but we're doing this all over the place. So
there's always more entertainment. That's something I've said to people for years. I used to tell my clients this when we were at the agency. It's like, your post doesn't just have to be good. It's got to be better than whatever they think might be below it. Right. Like that's the key. But my oldest is now 15 or recently turned 15. And we said, okay, you can finally have YouTube on your phone. I was hoping he might actually start watching some long form videos, and things like that. And he was like, can I have Instagram? That's where all my friends message each other.
Yes.
And I was like, dang, Adam Messari was right. I did not see that coming.
I know.
He's never mentioned Instagram.
It's crazy. That's what my sister, she's Gen Z. She'll post once a season, maybe, if we're lucky to see what's going on.
But she's messaging there.
Yes, she doesn't use stories either. They are using Snapchat and they're using IG DMs. It's crazy. Yeah.
All right. A quick reminder, things are obviously always changing, especially with AI. So learn more about becoming an AI powered marketer. Go to socialmediaexaminer.com/AI business. Again, socialmediaexaminer.com/AI business. And Shannon, where's the best place for people to connect with you?
Instagram. I'm on there a lot. I'm on there more than any human should be. I'm just Shannon McKinstry over there. I'm everywhere. I always tell everyone, you don't have to be, but I'm everywhere, but I'm in the Instagram DMs a lot. Feel free to come say hi. And then my website is shannonmckinstry.com.
Awesome. And if you want to add a podcast to your listening lineup, a couple of you to check out the AI Explored podcast, as well as the Social Media Marketing Podcast. Until next time, may you be wise with your marketing decisions. Thank you.